So I went to watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The reboot trilogy, or the Caesar trilogy as I like to call it, is one of my favorite trilogies ever. I think this is the perfect blockbuster movie in the franchise in the modern time that we have. Like, those three movies are like chef's kiss, like just perfect in the way that they're deep storytelling, the great characters and everything that they've done. And so when this movie is announced, I was super excited because I really felt that this movie would continue the trend. And so when I went and watched this movie, I was without a doubt pretty happy about it and really good about it, because I gotta say, this is like the great blockbuster movie I've seen in a while. And that's saying something, because we've had shitty blockbusters for the past like 4 or 5 years that have no heart, no soul. But that's like a whole different issue. But this movie is just is really good, and I really want to break down and not spoil anything, but talk about why I think this movie is so good and why I think it deserves your attention. So first off, what is this movie about? If you don't know, then this is set many years after the the reboot trilogy and the original movie, and like around 300 years later. And after Reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. And that's like a vague explanation, but basically there's this young ape by the name of Noah, who's our main character, and we see him grappling with Caesar's legacy and what was real 300 years ago and what's there right now. And we see different factions of these apes that some are twisting Caesar's words and using it in their own way. And we see him grappling with this, and it's a beginning of a new conflict set between not just within humans and apes, but between the apes in themselves also, and how he kind of becomes involved in it. And the first thing I want to talk about is the good, and there is a lot of it. So first of all, the world building. I mean, yes, you could say, oh, this is set on Earth, but this is 300 years later. And if you've seen any of the trailers or any of the clips, the CGI in this movie is incredible. Like, let's be honest, CGI is overused in most movies these days, and you can see it. It's unfinished, it's terrible. Like, go watch Thor Love and Thunder. Like, I don't even know what else to say. You can even watch, in my opinion, the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, and it still looks unfinished to me. Like, it just looks like shit, like, to be honest. But this movie has incredible amounts of CGI, because the reboot trilogy wasn't that much CGI, if you remember, because it was set in like the modern world. There were humans and everything before everything fell. This is set way after that, where apes have taken over mostly of the planet, and it's actually the planet of the apes. And the production design and the way it's shot, the way the remnants, like, there's a sequence of the bridge, I believe, the bridge, and it's so brilliant because it's like the nature has overrun all these man creatures, these buildings and everything, but they're still kind of there. Like, you can still see remnants and pieces of metal and all the stuff, and it's just done in a brilliant way where it looks real. Like, the motion capture technology, everything looks so real and visceral that it's like, it's not like Avatar level. It's Avatar Way of Water, but it's in its own right so good that you really believe these apes, and you really believe this world, where you really understand this world without actually having to explain a whole lot of how this world now looks. Another great really thing that they do here is the faction of the apes. The apes are, as a whole, have like different clans. Like, Noah, for example, is from part of the Eagle clan. I don't want to get into any more of that, but you see his clan is completely different from another clan. We don't see the whole whole like worldwide apes and how they work. Maybe we'll see it in the future movies, but we see how his clan works. We see this different clan, and we see how they as a whole view if Caesar's words and Caesar's rules in a twisted way, and how they twist it, while at the same time there is this order of Caesar that actually is trying to do it the right way. And that's also another great thing in this movie and in this franchise as a whole, because it really never forgets to talk that at the core of this is talking about human nature. right? Like the original movie too, that's talking about human nature and always how like these apes, even though they're supposed to be so different, they're not really different. As much as human nature and morality and all these things go, they're just the same as us, even though they may think they're better. And you kind of see that here, where you see the duality in these apes and how they're twisting words and they're doing all this weird stuff. And at the same time, you see humans as a whole too. A lot of them are like the main character May is a very, very intriguing character, and you see that alongside her, humans aren't as what they are either. And you kind of see what this morality and these things presented in a good way, and you can see that they had a life and an idea behind this when they wrote the story, and that's really what makes this engaging and so good. Another thing I gotta say is the action and the story beats. Like even when it slows down, the story slows down, it's still very engaging. Like it never gets boring to me. The action is always deafening, and the character work is actually pretty solid too, where we see Noah's arc throughout the movie, and you actually really see what makes this movie so good. And there's no doubt about my mind that I was hooked from the moment it began, and by the time it ended, I was just engaged, because it was just great. Like it didn't really break me or make me go, oh, this is wrong or anything. It's great. Now let's move on to the bad. Now when I mean bad, I don't necessarily mean that I hated these things, but I feel like these things could be better. This is a great movie, and it deserves all the praise it will get and everything, because it's miles beyond any other blockbuster movie that we've had in a while. But as a whole, if you look at the reboot trilogy, it's not as good as that because of some aspects, and one of those aspects is characters. Like I said, they're good characters, and there are, but they could be better. Like there are, you understand the side characters and everything, but you don't really connect with them. Like you connect with Noah, but even then you don't really understand as a whole who he is, and you kind of get a very basic idea. It could be deeper and could be better and stronger, and if they did that, it would no doubt in my mind be much more engaging and thought provocative, because then we would connect more with the characters, as we did with Caesar, as we did with Maurice, as we did Koba and all those other characters. Even the human characters in that, we just connected easily and we grasped and latched onto them. And they could do this here a little bit better, I feel, more than just like a little bit basic as they have done it. Another big aspect is the morality aspect. Like again, I'm not saying that these are bad because I talked about them good. They explore it, but again, it's like when you have a pond, right, and you just touch the surface and you go back and they're like ripples. That's what I felt this was doing. Like it's touching the water and the ripples going out, but it's not really exploring the heart of the issue, like where you could go deeper into it. And I feel that Proximus Caesar is a great character, played brilliantly by Kevin Durant, but I think he could have been better. He could have been deeper, and he could have been even a better menacing character than he already was, because he was a pretty solid character, but he could have been even better if they had better, stronger writing behind him, as they had with the villains in the first, second, and third movie. Like think about it, like Koba, the character of Koba was just built brilliant, like the way it was built, and it was from the first film itself. I'm not saying this is bad, but like they could have made this character better. And yeah, I think, but mainly I think this movie is going to get better over time. When we get a second one, I don't know what they would call it, but and a third one, this will be better, because this movie is also setting up future things by the end of it, and that's not a bad thing. It's not like it's just setting up and there's no story. There is a story for this film, but it's gonna get better as we get the whole story, because this is a piece of the story. It's like if you were there when Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out and you watched it. It's a great movie, it's a good movie, but it got even better with time, because then we got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and we got War, and it was this complete arc of that trilogy that made each movie better because it connected as a piece to the other one. So this one I think is solid, great. It's a good movie. It's worth watching. I wouldn't say it's on the level of that Caesar trilogy yet. Like we don't know, the second and third movie could like bump it up there, and this will be better over time. And I genuinely think you need to go and use your money here, because they're not just going out there and making a brand, just making money off a brand like Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings Golden movie, which I made a video about, ranting about it for 5 minutes. You can go watch that. But I think this movie deserves your money. It's a great time, and the good thing is also PG-13, so you can go with your family and go watch it. There's nothing really like disturbing as a whole. Sure, there's like action and stuff, but like, so you can't, it's not like you're gonna go and see blood, guts, and stuff like that. It's just great as a whole, and I want people to go watch this. And I know it's already earning a lot of money, and I'm happy about that, but I need a second movie and a third movie, because this is what I live for. This to me is blockbuster filmmaking. So if you watch this, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.